and today we will be learning explain the classification of data models in DBMS, or what is a data model, what are the different types of data models. So here data models in DBMS a very important topic. So let's see what is data model. Data model means modeling data, that is to give a shape to the data or to give a figure to the stored data. Here what does it mean by data model here? Data model is nothing but to give a shape to the data. What data? Here a data model is giving shape to which data? What data? Means nothing but whatever we have a data in DBMS, for entire data means for entire database management system, it is going to give a one shape. It is going to give one shape to the data or to give a figure to the stored data, whatever stored in the database. For the entire data, it is going to be providing one shape. So why we call data modeling? Is there is any purpose to call data model in DBMS? Yes. The main purpose of data model is to give an idea that how the final system or how the final software will look like after development is completed. So what it is doing? With the help of data model, it is going to be provide blueprint. So before development only, before develop the software or before develop the projects itself only, data model is going to give the blueprint, which is how you can observe, you can understand how our data, how our project or how our software will look after development is completed. It is going to be provided in the form of blueprint earlier itself only. And again, it is going to be provide with the help of using data models, we can understand how the data is to store, how it is going to be connected each other, and how it is accessed and updated in database management system. Here we use a set of symbols and text to represent the information, so that what will happen when you use some set of symbols or text to represent the information, so that the members who are the members of the organization can communicate and understand it very easily. Though there are many data models being used in nowadays, but the relational model is the most widely used data model. Apart from the relational model, there are many other types of data model there, about which we will study in detail in this video. Some of the data models in DBMS are, let's see, what are the groups we have. The data models are divided into three different groups, which are follows. So the data models are divided into mainly three groups. The first group is called object-based logical models. Second group, record-based logical models. Third one, physical data models. Let's see how it is going to be divided. So here follows one diagram. Let's see the categories of data models here, and as well as you can see what are the types under the categories. So the categories of data model is divided into three types, as I already told you: object based, record based, and physical data models. Under the first category object based logical models, we have again four types of data models. And coming to the second category of data model, record based logical models, we have three kinds of or three types of data models are there. Particularly in this video, we are learning only entity relationship model. So rest of the types I will be uploading in coming videos. Okay, we'll see. The first category is object-based logical models. Object-based logical models are used in describing at logical level and view level. So, logical models, which is the first category under the data model. So here Object-based logical models are used in describing data at logical level and view level. So especially the first category we are used in describing the data in where we are describing this model means especially at logical level and view level. Here logical level, what is the logical level here? Means the logical level is used by DBA. I already told you in ANSYS Spark architecture as well as in schema architecture also. DBA means database administrator. Logical level, who is the responsible person in logical level? DBA, database administrator, and programmer is the responsible person to implement the implementations in logical level. So logical level is used by DBA so as to make a decision regarding what data should be stored in the database and what are the storage structures we have to use to store the data and what are the relationships must exist among those data. Everything done at the logical level under the supervision of database administrator and programmer. On the other hand, we have one more level which is view level. View level describes only part of the entire database. View level describes not only entire database, which is describes only part of the entire database that is to be viewed by the database user, and it hides the details of the information stored also. So in the view level, it is going to be describes only part of the entire database, given permission to viewed by the database user, and as well as it is going to be hide the details of the how we have stored the information on physical and systems. That entire information is going to be hidden at the level of view level. View level has given a permission to show the information only part of the entire database. Clear? Now coming to the different types of object-based logical models. We have four types of object-based logical models. Under that, the first one is the entity relationship model. Second one, the object-oriented model. Third one, the semantic data model. Fourth one, the functional data model. As I already told you, in this video, I am going to explain only the entity relationship model. Remaining models I will upload in the coming up videos. Okay. Let's see entity relationship model, also called as ER model. During the Viva time, they used to ask what is the abbreviation of ER model. You can say ER model is nothing but entity relationship model. Clear? Entity relationship model is one of the most widely used data model while designing the database and is also referred to as high level conceptual data model. So ER model is one of the most widely used data model while designing the database. When we are designing the database, that time itself only we are implementing our entity relationship model to the database. So when we are designing the database, that time only we are implementing our ER model to database, and it is also referred to as high level conceptual data model. High level conceptual data model is nothing but in ANSYS Spark architecture we have this concept. Conceptual data model includes what it includes, especially it concentrate on how the relationship, how we have to create the tables and what are the attributes we have to give for the particular table, how we have to maintain the relationship among those tables. Everything done under conceptual data model. For that reason, while designing the database itself, we are calling entity relationship model to the database. Coming to the next point, the main purpose of developing ER model is to support the user's view about the data. What is the main purpose of developing ER model in database? Means it support the users. Users are nothing but ours. It supports the end user's point of view about what? About the data. What data they want to see from entire database. Only the particular information is going to be allowed to see the allowed to give the permission to the particular user. Remaining all the information which is related to the database is going to be hidden. And to hide the implementation details associated with the database design. So what it is going to be the main purpose of developing ER model is to support the user's point of view, and as well as it is going to be hide the which is not required by the particular user. That entire information is also hidden, and at the same time the ER model is going to be hide the implementation details associated with the database design. While designing the database, we are using so many storage structures, so many design formats. Everything need not to understand by the user. So that entire information is also means what are the implementations we have done while designing the database. Everything is also hiding from the user. Only the thing which is required, which is the what is the relevant data what is the relevant data wants to see the user. Only that that much of information is going to be provided. Remaining all the information from the entire database is going to be hide from the user. Coming to the third point, ER models are represented in ER diagram, which is very important point. ER models are represented in the form of ER diagram, which are basically the graphical representations of entire logical structure of database. With the help of ER diagram, we are that in the database, whatever data we have, everything is going to be represented in the form of graphically. So with the help of ER diagram, our data is going to be shown in the form of graphical format. Coming to the following are the basic components of ER model. Here, what does it mean by components? As I already told you, ER models are represented in what form? ER diagram. When we are drawing when we draw the diagram, ER diagram, we should follow some rules and regulations. Those rules are called as a components. We should have to follow some basic components which are given by the ER model. What are the basic components here? The first important one, entities. Second basic component of ER model, attributes. And third and last one, relationships. Now, we came to know ER models are represented in the form of ER diagram, right? And after that, we came to know we should follow some basic components while to draw the ER diagram. So, we should follow some basic components to draw the ER model also we came to. Now, I am going to ask you one question. Is there any symbols to draw the ER diagram? Is there any symbols to draw the ER diagram? Yes, definitely we should follow some symbols to draw the ER diagram. Let's see what are the symbols. Symbols used in ER model. The first symbol is rectangle. So rectangle represent what? Rectangle represents entities. Rectangle represent what? Entities. So whenever you are going to keep your entities, especially in the ER diagram, that entity must and should be placed in the rectangle symbol. Now coming to the attribute. So attribute, it should be keep in the form of ellipse. Whenever you are going to be write your attributes, that should be keep it in the ellipse symbol. And next one, relationship. So according to our basic component, the first component was entity. Entity should be written in the rectangle symbol. Next, coming to the attribute. Attribute should Written means attributes should be keep in the ellipse symbol. And finally, the last one, relationship, the basic component of ER model, relationship, that should be keep it into the diamond symbol. And one more symbol is there, that is line symbol. These lines represent link of attributes to entities as well as entities to relationship. If you want to maintain any relationship between attributes to entities or entities to relationship, we should give a link with the help of lines. Now we will have a doubt. What does it mean by entity? What does it mean by attribute? How we are going to recognize this is an entity, this is an attribute? How we are going to be identify? So definitely we will have a doubt. Clear? Now I will going to explain what does it mean by entity. So here let's see the entity here. Oh, sorry. Before the entity explanation, I should have to show one chart related to the ER diagram. So, components of ER model, we have already discussed entities, attributes, relationship, right? In entities, it is has divided into one type of entity we have, that called weak entity. And coming to the second component of ER diagram, that is attribute. In the attribute component, we have four types of attributes are there. One is key attribute, second one is composite attribute, third one is multi-valued attribute, and the last one is derived attribute. Coming to the last and third component of ER diagram, which is divided into four relationships. One is one-to-one relationship, second one to many relationship, third one many to one relationship, and the last one many to many relationship. We will be discussing this entire model in this video itself only. Now let's see what is entity here. See here, an entity may be an object, a class, a person, or a place. Entity may be an object, class, person, or place. In the ER diagram, an entity can be represented as rectangles. That one we know. So what does it mean by entity? How can you call this is an entity? Let's see. Entity is a real word thing. Entity is nothing but it's a real word thing. It can be a person name, means the entity can be a person name, or else a place name, or even a concept name, or even an object name, or even a class name. Example you can take, entity can be a teacher, entity can be a student, entity can be a course, entity can be a building or department, etc. Here entity is nothing but it's a real word or real word thing. For an example, in DBMS, I just want to create a table about whom I want to create a table on student. Now my entity is a student, means I am going to create a table on student. Student is my table name. The table name becomes an entity. In ER model, the table name becomes as an entity. Here what is the table name? According to my view, I am going to create a table on student. The table name is student, so as well as the entity is also called a student. Consider here, I am going to give one example. See here, consider an organization. Consider one organization as an example. In the organization, under the organization, so many people will work under one organization, right? Manager is going to be work for organization. Product is going to be launched under one organization. So many employees, so many departments, so many things is going to be done under one organization. Among these all people, anyone can become an entity. So I'm going to create a table on manager. So manager become an entity. I'm going to create a table on product. The product becomes an entity. Here see, here employee, as I already told you, entity should be represented as rectangles in ER model. So here I have taken one rectangle symbol. In that I have written employee. Employee, when I call the along with the rectangle symbol, so it becomes as an entity. Here one more entity is there, that is called department. So here I have two entities with me, means one is employee entity, another one is department. Those two are entities because I call those two in rectangle symbols. And next one I have given one relationship between these two entities. What is the relationship I have called here? The employee works for department. Is it true or not? Any employee has to be work for under for the one department. Yes or no? So I have called one relationship between this employee entity and this department entity. So when I call the relationship, that should be keep in the form of what? Diamond symbol. The relationship must be in the form of diamond. Clear? So for that reason I called here one diamond, and the diamond I have written works for employee, works for department. Again, see here some lines I have connected from entity to relationship, again some relationship to entity also. For the relationship to connect to connect to entity to relationship, I'm using one link. That link is line. With the help of line, I have connected to entity employee to relationship of works for, again relationship of workforce to department of entity. Clear this example? Now coming to the weak entity. As I already told you, weak entity is one of the type under entity. So what does it mean by weak entity here? Let's see. An entity that depends on the another entity called a weak entity. An entity that depends on another entity. Whenever we call one entity, always it is independent. But sometimes some entities are depending upon the another entities. Those entities are called as weak entity. That time the weak entity is represented by double rectangle. Whenever we have a weak entities in your data, that time you have to be represent those weak entities in the form of double rectangle. For an example here, see, I have a loan entity. So entity, so I have called with the rectangle, and as well as one more entity which is installment, but I have kept this installment entity double rectangle symbol. So it leads to what? It leads to going to saying to us that is an a weak entity. So you will have definitely will have one doubt, how can you define this is an entity, this is a weak entity? Definitely you will have a doubt. Means take an example of this. Always whenever we are taking loan from the banks, we have to be pay installments by monthly wise. Suppose every installment is depending upon the different kinds of loans scheme. Suppose I have adopted one loan scheme, another person has considered another loan scheme. Based on the loan schemes or based on the kind of loan only, we have to pay the installment to the bank. Means this installment always depending upon the what kind of scheme loan we have taken from the bank. Some kinds of loans has received very lesser installment, or some kinds of loan schemes has received very big amount from us, right? So always this installment is depending upon the loan. So when this entity is depending upon the what kind scheme of loan we have taken, so on that basis this installment entity is a weak entity, because it is the amount of installment is depending upon the kind of the loan scheme. So and that way we are going to be differentiate the this is an entity and this is a weak entity. Clear? Always weak entity should be represented in the form of double rectangle. Now coming to the attribute. Attribute is which is second basic component under what? Under ER model. We have completed till now entity. Now we are coming to the second basic component of attribute. See, the attribute is used to describe the property of an entity. Why? Attribute is nothing but it is going to describe the property of an entity, means it is interrelated to the entity. Attribute, what is the purpose of calling attribute? It always describe the property of an entity. So here ellipse is used to represent an attribute. So ellipse, previously in the entity we are saying entity is represented in the form of rectangle symbol. Here attribute is represented in the form of ellipse. For an example, let's see one example, you will definitely clear this concept. See here, student is my table name, means student is my entity. So on that note, I have taken one rectangle symbol. On rectangle symbol, I put student, means student is my entity. Now coming to the, when you call one student, when you identify one student, what are the property of the student? See, how can you describe he is a student or she is a student? How can you describe? She is a student. How you are going to, how you describe the student? Means based on his name or her name, based on ID, based on the what she is going to be studied, and based on previous mark list, depending about her previous year mark list, her name, and for the fee structure, everything comes under define he is a student or she is a student. So those things are called as a attributes. Those what are the describing characters? Those things are called as attributes. I can say another word, when you are creating one table. So when we have already know this information about DBMS, whatever information we are stored in the DBMS, that should be in the form of, we should be keep in the form of table format, isn't it? Table format. Table is in what form? Table is in the form of rows and columns. Clear? Rows and columns. Rows is nothing but giving the information to fill the table, and coming to the columns is the column names we are giving the describing the table. What the table you are going to create, the table we are describing with the help of columns. Those columns are nothing but attributes. Coming to the rows are nothing but we are sending the information into the table with the help in columns. Through columns we are sending the information in the form of rows. Clear? Attributes are nothing but column names. Column names are nothing but we are describing one table in the form of columns. Here see student. Student, I am going to describe a student with the help of ID, with the help of phone number, with the help of name and age. So these are attributes. So on that note, I have called those attributes in ellipse. Ellipse. I have a link to entity to attributes with the help of lines. Clear? Coming to the types of attributes. So here in attributes we have 4 types of attributes are there. And the first attribute is key attribute. The key attribute is used to represent the main characteristic of an entity. What does it mean by key attribute? Key attribute is nothing but it is going to be help to represent the main characteristic of an entity. For an example, assume I have a student table. In student table, I have called 4 attributes. One is ID, second one is phone number, third one is name, and the last one is age. So how many attributes I am having in one table, that is student? 4 attributes are there. In 4 attributes, I have entered 50 records. In the one student table, how many records I am having? 50 records I have. So among 50 records, 5 students names are similar. same names. 5 student names are same names with same initial too. So how can you identify these 5 students? How can you differentiate these 5 student mark list or some A's or same? How can you differentiate these 5 students with because they are those 5 students are having same name with same initial? How can you differentiate their marks? With the help of ID, isn't it or not? Every student have a roll number. Those roll numbers are unique too, right? They never, two students have never have same numbers, right? So with the help of ID we can separate, or we can separate those students by marks. So which column represent that main characteristic for the entire table? That column is called as key attribute. So among these all attributes, I represent ID is my key attribute, but this ID attribute also I have to keep in ellipse symbol, but I have to give some identification for that particular. When you see that ER diagram, you will definitely observe, so ID is my key attribute. How can you define? How can you define? Because this is also come along with the ellipse like other attributes. With the help of underline the text, these also comes along with the ellipse, but the column name means the attribute name comes, text comes with the underline. That means this is a key attribute for this student table. Clear? Key attribute always comes with the underline. Now coming to the next type, that is composite attribute. An attribute that is a combination of other attribute is known as composite attribute. Means here see, an attribute that is a combination of other attributes is known as composite attribute. Let's see here one example. Student is my table name, also called as an entity. In student I have one attribute which is called address. Again, this address is going to be depending upon so many other columns. Why? Because whenever you are going to say your address, definitely you have to mention your PIN code. Definitely you have to say your state, your country, and your street name, your door number. All together only becomes your address. Isn't it or not? Means whenever one attribute is depending upon another combination of attributes is called, that is composite attribute. In this example, which one is called composite attribute? The address attribute is called composite attribute because this address is depending upon the PIN attribute as well as state attribute as well as country attribute. Because when we are getting information from all the three columns, then only address is going to be filled in this column. So address is a composite attribute here. Again, the composite attribute is represented by an ellipse, and those ellipses are connected with an ellipse itself only. Clear? Now coming to the third type of attribute, which is multi-valued attribute. An attribute can have more than one value. Means an attribute can have more than one value. Assume in every time when you are sending the information in columns with the in the form of rows, how much of information you are going to send? Means how many values you are going to send? For each row we are sending the column to one value, isn't it or not? But sometimes an attribute in the attribute we are going to send more than one value. Those attributes comes under multi-valued attributes. These attributes are known as multi-valued attributes. So how can you define multi-valued attributes? The double ellipse is used to represent multi-valued attributes. How can you define the double ellipse? When you call attribute along with the double ellipse, that attribute shows it's a multi-valued attribute. For an example, a student can have more than one phone number, isn't it or not? Nowadays, every student will have more than one phone number. Coming to their home landline and coming to their father's phone, they used to give all the numbers. Nowadays, in college itself also, they used to collect their father number, mother number. If you have any landline number, if you have your personal phone number, means that time we have to be store the information of more than one value in single column. That leads to multi-valued attribute. It should be represented in the form of double ellipse. Clear? Now coming to the last type, derived attribute. An attribute that can be derived from other attribute is known as derived attribute. It can be represented by dash ellipse. Dash ellipse means derived attribute is nothing but it is going to be derived from another attribute. Whenever we are deriving one attribute not independently, it is going to be derived from another attribute. Means we are giving the information not by own. Whenever we are giving the information in particular column, that information is depending upon another column, that is called derived attribute. That column itself is called derived attribute. It should be represented in the form of dashed ellipse in a model. For an example, a person age changes over time and can be derived from another attribute like date of birth. For an example, see here, student is my entity. As for the student table, I have 4 attributes which are name, birth date, roll number, age. So name never changed. When we are in the college, we never change our name, as well as roll number too. And birth date also we never change. But age always, for example, if you are a degree student, what will happen when you are joining in the first year? We have 1 year. When we completed our degree, we will become, our age will be changed. That changing age should be, that changing age, whenever we are giving information in second year or final year, definitely we should have to be calculate our age on the birth date. So always this age column information is going to be depending upon the date of birth. So on that note, age is a derived attribute. In the age, we are not giving every year same age. We are calculating our age we are calculating the age every year. So based on what? We are calculating the age based on date of birth. So this age is derived from the birth date of attribute. So the deriving attribute is called derived attribute, which is shown in the form of dashed ellipse. Clear? Now coming to the last basic component of ER model, which is relationship. A relationship is used to describe the relation between entities. What is the purpose of relationship? It is going to be used to describe. Describe means it is going to be tell what kind of relation is maintaining between the two entities or between more than one entity. A relationship is used to describe means it is going to be tell what kind of relation they are maintaining between the entities. With the help of, we are calling the relationship in the form of diamond, as I already told you, right? Diamond. Coming to an example here, teacher is an entity, student is one more entity. Teacher, teachers, student, isn't it or not? Teachers, teachers, teacher, teachers, student. Here the relationship I have formed in the form of diamond. What is the relationship between the teacher and student here? Teaching. Teacher, teachers, student. Clear? Now coming to the types of relationship are as follows. The first relationship is one-to-one relationship. When a single instance of entity is associated with a single instance of another entity, then it is called one-to-one relationship. Means in the left side I have one entity, on the right side I am having another entity. When the two entities are having interacted by themselves itself, they are never interact with the, they are never have relation with the another entity. So that is called as one-to-one relationship. When a single instance of an entity means people has a passport, isn't it or not? Every person has a single passport. Every person has a Aadhaar card. No person has double Aadhaar cards. No person has double voter ID. No person has double passport, isn't it right? Like that, one single instance of entity is associated with a single instance of another entity. That relationship is called as a one-to-one relationship. There is no one to many, there is no many to one. People has a passport. Here people is table, passport is another table. Under people table, I have 50 people, and here passport, each every 50 people have unique passport IDs. This is called as one-to-one relationship. Coming to the next relationship, which is one-to-many relationship. When only one instance of the entity on the left, means left side I am having customer here in the example, customer, that is one, only one customer, and more than one instance of an entity on the right associated with the relationship, then it is known as one-to-many relationship. Means one customer can place many orders. Is it true or not? We are, when we are becomes as a customers, like we can place number of orders at the same time. At the same time we can place number of orders, but order cannot be placed by many customers. Is it true or not? Customer can place many orders, but orders cannot be placed by many customers. Never asked order to customer, please order me, please order me. Never ask order to customer to order me. By only one customer can place many orders. So this kind of relationship is called one-to-many relationship. Means in one entity only single person can contact. In another entity we have number of orders based on that particular single person. That is called one-to-many relationship. One customer placed many orders, right? Third one, many to one relationship. When more than one instance of the entity on the left, in the left side I am having so many students here, many students, and the one instance of an entity on the right. On the right I am having only one. According to this example I am saying, I am having left side many students, in the right side entity I am having only one college. Associated with the relationship, then it is called as many to one relationship. See here, many students can study in a single college. So in one college, so many students can study in one college. Is it true or not? Is it possible? Yes. In one college, so many students can read. Means so many students can study. But a student cannot study in many colleges at the same time. At the same time, no one student can study in many colleges. With the at the same time, no one student cannot study in the many colleges. But many same time, many student can study in one college. So many students, what is the relationship with many students? Enroll one college. They can choose one college to enroll their application. This is called many to one relationship. Next, coming to the many to many relationship. When more than one instance of the entity on the left, more than one instance means many, and more than one instance of an entity on the right, here right side also many, associated with the relationship, then it is known as many to many relationship. Example, employee can assign many projects and projects can have many employees. Is it true or not? One employee means so many employees can assign for the single projects or the same projects itself also. Employee can assign many projects as well as projects can have many employees. So many projects is going to be dealt by so many employees itself. And the same time many employees have worked for the many projects. That leads to employee. Many employees assigned many projects. This is called as many to many relationship. What is the relationship between employee and projects? Assigned. Employees are assigned many projects. Clear all of you? These are the relationship types. Let's see now a basic example of ER diagram. See here, customer is my table name, means entity. For one customer means for this entity, how many attributes I am having here for this customer entity? I am having 3 attributes: customer city, customer name, customer number. And now coming to the one more entity, which is account. Account is having how many attributes here? Account number, balance. So what is the relationship between customer and account? The relationship is in depositor. Customer, depositor, amount. Customer is going to be deposit amount into account. So the relationship between the customer and account is depositor. Let's see this example in detail. The above ER diagram consists of how many entities here? 2 entities, that is customer and account. And what is the relationship between them? That is, the relationship name is depositor. The depositor relationship specify the association between customer and account. Is it or not? The depositor relationship what specifies? What specifies the association between the customer and account. When customer deposits account, when customer is going to deposit the money to account, the customer should specify what are the attributes he has. Whenever the customer is going to be deposits the account, he should be specify what are the attributes he has or she has. What are the attributes he has? Customer name, customer number, customer city, as well as, and account should specify, automatically the account has to be specify the attributes of what is the account number of his customer, and again he has the account table is going to be show what is the previous balance and what is the present balance also he account entity specify. So customer entity has to specify customer number, customer name, customer city. According to this example I am saying, whatever attributes he has, this entities have, all the attributes he has to specify, and at the same time when we account the data, when we deposit the money to account, that time the account entity has to specify what are the attributes that has, means account number and the balance. Clear, students? I hope you all understand the concept clearly. Still, if you have any doubt, please feel free to comment in comment section. I will be clarifying your doubt as soon as possible. God bless you all. Thank you.